afternoon and welcome to the University of Derby Sport Complex. You join us here for the BAFA Youth Finals of 2018. First up we have the Plate Finals, which will be played between the East Kent Mavericks and the Birmingham Lions, the number 1 and number 2 seed in the Plate coming in. Today you join myself, George Lees, and James Ramsey. How are you doing, James?
I'm all right, thank you, George. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. Very, very hot today, as you might see from the sweat of, the bead of sweat on our brows, I'm sure. What we've seen today has been fantastic so far, is it not? You've had the privilege. Unfortunately, I've had work this morning, but from the little glimpses that I've seen, it's been a cracking morning of football so far. So what have you seen today?
It's a lot of strong teams. It's a competition that's highly sought after, and all the teams in this look like they deserve to be where they are. The Birmingham Lions put on an amazing display, as have the East Kent Mavericks, so it's going to be a very exciting Plate final, I think.
So you have the privilege of kind of watching both teams throughout this morning. How have they got there so far?
Well, the Birmingham Lions had a very, very good performance in their first game, and in the second game they struggled a bit, but they were able to get that 1 point lead with less than a minute left on the clock, and they're able to see that out. So they look like a very strong contender. They did look in control, but they did play a bit poorly, whereas the East Kent Mavericks have been in control in both of their games today. They've won by 2 scores in both games. We'll see if the Birmingham Lions, as you say, they come in 1 and 2. We'll see if the Birmingham Lions are able to, hopefully keep them under control, because it looks like they're a very high-scoring offence.
Well, that'll be good. Obviously, Birmingham are a very, very productive outfit. They've got a wonderful junior team, and as well as their university teams and whatever else they've got going on. The women's team as well is the finest women's team currently in the British game, and I think they're looking to host some outer international games going into the season. East Kent, fairly new to over the last few years, but they seem to be productive. Missing out last year on the Brit Ball final. Both teams this year have finished 9-3 with 9-3 records, with Birmingham losing out to the Eton Jaguars, another new team that you will see later on, we hope. They finished 12-0, beating the Lions at all 3 of their games. The Lions 3 losses, and the East Kent Mavericks losing out to the Rebels, which they have also made the Plate final. The final this afternoon. So, obviously, a youth game, for those of you that haven't watched, is slightly different to what you may have seen. The senior game at 11-man versus 11-man, and the junior game at 9v9. Today we bring you the youth, which is 5v5. Not quite the same setup in terms of 4 quarters. You can hear behind us some clapping, as it looks like Hertfordshire Cheetahs have just walked in with the score. So they play 2 halves. We're led to believe it will be 2 15-minute halves with a 5 or 10-minute half-time break. So it will be interesting. And with this heat, these short games are really, really useful, particularly as all these teams have already played 3 games coming in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game similar to the 9v9 or 11v11 game that you're traditionally used to. But the strategy is completely different in the same way that it's the same. You're looking at centres who can become receivers, and it's a lot more, I suppose, tactical in a short space. They also play in a much shorter field, a much narrower field. So
yeah, it should make for some interesting games, I think. Obviously, the running game on a shorter field, although less players can always be effective. But you will tend to see, from what I've seen of game film and various bits and pieces today, a much more higher pass percentage, I think, is fair to say, particularly, as you say, with the centres being eligible as well, which always makes for an interesting game.
It also means that the quarterbacks have to throw blocks sometimes. When the field gets reversed or if the play design changes, you do see everyone throwing blocks, which I think is great. It improves the teamwork amongst all the players.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with the quarterback throwing a block here or there. Give them some toughness. I think the youth game, in terms of what it is, some people say, 5v5 is not enough to learn the sport or this, that and everything else. But actually, I'm a great believer that the 5v5 game, it can be used to teach these young men the skills to play football moving forward. The basic skills, albeit, but moving up, and you see the success of East Kilbride and the Manchester teams that are going on to the junior game. Their guys have already played 3 to 4 years of football before they're getting to that 16, 17 years of age. And from, I was a former head coach at the junior level. Has been really effective for those teams that have got a productive youth offence, defence and team altogether.
Well, I think that this like version of the game helps breed a lot of skill players. I think it helps teach everyone what all the other positions do, because you're not just set in one particular set. You're not just the quarterback, you're also throwing blocks. You're not just the running back, you're also becoming a receiver. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of nuances to this game.
Yeah, very much so. And it is about teaching these young guys the skills of the game, just to get them started moving forward in football. If you get them hooked young, they tend to carry on the game a lot longer, as many junior teams will tell you, I'm sure. This year there's been the wonderful announcement of the Great Britain squad, the youth and junior setup, with the youth hoping to feed on onto the junior team. Not yet to play a game, but I'm aware that they've had a number of training camps already, and that's great to see that they've not only looked at the junior game as is, but looking towards the future. And I'm sure there'll be one or two coaches from the GB setup. In fact, I've seen one walking around already in Rob Urquhart, looking at some of these players today for the future.
Well, that is what this is good for. Is it trains you, as you said, for the future of playing. If you can come into a squad with 3 or 4 years of experience that other players might not have, you can not only better yourself as a player, but you can also teach others. If you continue, let's say, from Birmingham Lions onto the other Birmingham Lions outfits, you can only increase the not only diversity of your players, but also the strength of them as a team working environment, and just as skill players, I suppose.
Yeah, and of course the Baffa Schools games, which I'm sure at some stage we may well have an advert flashing up on our screens. The Baffa School program has been a great asset as well, bringing in younger players, and hopefully we'll see that coming through the youth over the next few years. Again, if you can get them playing another 2 years before youth, you're going to start having some really, really productive players coming through. Not that we don't have already, of course, as we've already seen one or two pass our way that are in the GB youth program.
Well, I think that's the future of American football, not just of Brit Ball or of American football specifically in the world, is that you need young people to come through and keep playing the game, and that's what events like this do, is that it gives them a stage to display their skills and show others that they can get involved as well.
So for those of you that don't know, the league setup is also slightly different for youth. Where at senior, junior level you play a 1v1 game, going to each team, possibly home and away at senior level, not so much at junior level. The youth league is based around tournaments. I believe it's a 4-game tournament, a 3-game tournament on the day, and it's a much easier way to play this game, and they found great success, although you see smaller teams certainly perhaps suffer a little bit on the third game, although they are shorter quarters, or shorter half, should I say. We've seen some, like you say, we've already seen some wonderful football, and I think these short halves will do wonders. I don't think I could make through 3 games anymore. I think that's fair to say. I know I've seen somewhere posted Lincolnshire Bombers this morning have got their first ever playoff win at a youth tournament, which is wonderful. They beat the Hertfordshire Cheetahs 12-6, so a very close game. And as you've said, there doesn't seem to be mass dominance at this tournament so far.
No, well, as I say, all the teams are playing competitively. There's not a single game where it's necessarily been completely out of control from the start. Everyone has seemed like they could take it. Obviously, when you have a 2-score win, it means somewhere it's come apart a bit. But mostly, it's just been great football.
And that's wonderful to see, great football at this level. And you know, if you're at a senior team and you're looking towards the future, you need to be starting to look at the guys coming through your systems, and I'm sure most of you are. And like I've already named, the Manchester Titans is a great setup. 2 youth teams, a women's team and a men's team, a very successful men's team now in the Premiership. I believe they're on course to make the playoffs, which is a great achievement for first-time Premiership teams. But you've also got the likes of East Kilbride, who, all right, they've not had such a successful season at their senior level, but again, a women's team and a number of youth teams, not just 2. I think they've got, or associated certainly with 3 or 4. Where do you think this youth game's going to go?
Well, I think it can only grow. When teams get involved and they invest money and they invest time into these programs, it means that not only are you bettering yourself as a club, but you're also, as you say, preparing yourself for the future. It's not just a one-time thing where you say, oh, we'll run it for a year and see what happens. People are putting serious investment and serious time into making the players of the future. And it can only go well from there, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you know we've already said it once, but I'll say it again. They go through youth, they go through junior, and now they're hitting university, and by the time they hit senior, now some of the out here could potentially have 7-8 years of experience before they hit that senior level, and as we've seen, with the GB women's team, they seem to be dominant at the moment. The GB men's team, for those of you that have been watching today, beat Denmark. So they got their first win of the tournament, the fifth place game, but a win. They struggled against Finland, I think it's fair to say, in the first game, losing out 28-7, 28-9, I think it might have been, with the defence really stepping up the game in the second half, and then unfortunately losing quite substantially to France, who have a wonderful grassroots setup in their country, and I think it goes to prove what can be done if we support our youth and junior programs in the country and help what we can or do what we can for American football in schools. Shortly be having the game behind us with the Birmingham Lions playing the East Kent Mavericks. It will be, I think, from what you've seen this morning, or hoping a very close game with the Lions just winning by a point in their previous fixture. We were hoping to get you some highlights of that game. We may well get you them at half time, but we
apologies for the loss of coverage there. We're experiencing some technical difficulties, but we'll be bringing you the plate final between the East Kent Mavericks and the Birmingham Lions underway very shortly. As you can see on our screen there, the referee is just getting mic'd up, so you'll be able to hear everything that he says to both teams and to their managers. It's looking to be a very competitive game today, as we were saying in pre-game. As you can see, the Birmingham Lions wandering onto screen now. It's going to be a close one, I think. I think that Birmingham have looked in control, but they were struggling quite a lot in their second game in the first half, and then were able to bring it back against the Manchester Titans North.
I'm on the same one?
Yeah.
Be joined very, very soon by my co-commentator George. And George has very nicely handed me a Birmingham Lions roster. So yeah, the game will be underway soon, probably within the next 5 minutes. We're just waiting on both teams to be ready. And we'll bring it to you live on this day.
Yeah, we'll bring that live and press it again.
It's a lovely sunny day here in Derby, at the University of Derby Sports Centre. They've clearly put a lot of time and effort into this. As you can see, there's 3 games going on at the same time at the moment. We've got the plate final on the closest pitch to us, which is the game we're going to be showing to you today. But we've also got the 3rd and 4th and the 5th and 6th games going on in the background between the teams that didn't quite make it this far. Some of the teams are very good, like the Bombers from Lincolnshire. They only lost by 14 to East Kent, but I think that scoreline's not very fair. They lost 20 to 34 against the East Kent Mavericks, but they played a very strong game. And the Birmingham Lions on the way here beat both Manchester teams. They beat the Manchester Titans South 36-6 and the Manchester Titans North 19-18. It was a very close game. I watched it personally, and I can tell you that the games were decided by 2 very long passes from basically end zone to end zone, and some very good running from the Manchester Titans North put them 1 score up with just less than 2 minutes remaining, and it was a very exciting game for me to watch. And I have to say, with a bit of bias, I was very glad the Birmingham Lions made it through, because I think their kit is lovely, the red and gold. And you can see there, the Birmingham Lions captain's walking out for the coin toss.
Oh, no. Alex.
And we'll see who will be starting on offense and defense. This game is unlike American football you may be used to. There is no kickoff. The team just starts on offense or defense from within 5 yards of their end zone. And I'm now joined by my co-commentator George. Hello, George.
Alex,
Birmingham have won the toss. We'll have first possession of football this end of the field. Okay, guys, good luck.
So Birmingham brought a nice diverse squad here today. They've got plenty of players they're able to play on both sides of the wall if required. Number 81 that you can see has just walked off to the left of your screen. He's been playing both ways today, and he's been a very good wide receiver and as a defensive back. And really, I'm hoping for a very close contest, even though I've been following Birmingham more so than East Kent today. But I do hope it's a close game. It's always more fun when both teams are in it to the very end, and I think that's what we could see today. We'll find out very soon if that is the case. Birmingham are going to be starting on offense. So they motion a man across to pass off to their running back number 3, who is Jeremy Kwazambi Benny, and he's still got the ball. He's running. He's just tackled short of the line So that he's dropped about a yard short of the end zone. But an amazing run there by number 3, Jeremy. That's a great way for the Birminghams to come out and start. I think the East Kent Mavericks were sort of caught on their feet a little bit. They're not expecting that at all. So Birmingham will be within one play, will be within 1 yard of the East Kent Mavericks end zone.
Having a wonderful time up here in the booth. I do apologise. I've just sat in. And it looks like a score for Birmingham to start with. That's number 81 by the looks of it. That is Xavier Hanzi. He is a member of the GB Youth, as we mentioned earlier. A player that I've known for 4 years, I would think. An excellent young prodigy. He's coming into his own as a wide receiver. And we'll see, and I'm sure he'll be used a lot more during this game.
So for people who are unfamiliar, there is a 1 or 2 point system in this version of the game. From the line they are on now, they're attempting a 2-point conversion. And that looks like it's gone in. That is carried in. Oh no.
There is a flag on the play.
What was the referee's decision on this?
Illegal motion. Offence, number 85. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll retry.
Okay, so it was an illegal motion, so they'll be pushed back a bit. But to reiterate, if you attempt from the 2-point mark, you can run or throw the ball into the end zone. If you attempt from the 1-point mark, you can only throw the ball into the end zone. So we'll see what the Birmingham Lions are going to pull out here. Obviously, we've seen they have a very strong run game just from their first play. But we'll see if they can get it done through the air on this.
It looks like they've got that motion again with Xavier crossing the field, and it's a fake toss and a deep pass to Xavier. Oh, and he tried to go for the one hand, but he's dropped it in the end zone. So that will leave the score 6-0 for Birmingham. We'll have a quick turnaround as the East Kent Mavericks take over.
You can see in this replay here, the ball gets some nice height, and Xavier has got separation. He's just not able to put it into his basket.
Very, very much stargazing there, I think is fair to say, but young receiver, mistakes are made.
So East Kent will start their drive with a toss to the right, left even, and he's reversing the field, trying to get away. Can't hold on to the tackle.
Nice broken tackle there as well. Strong running from the running back. Didn't really pick anything up though. So that will bring up 2nd down.
It's going to be tough for East Kent Mavericks. I know that the Birmingham Lions have a very strong front, so they're going to have to pull some special tactics out here today, I think.
So lining up with 3 receivers, but it is another run there. Another short pickup, good defense by the Birmingham Lions there to force him out of bounds. And that will bring up 3rd down on the play.
And some of you may be wondering why they don't just blitz the quarterback. And the reason for that is you have to line up at nose tackle in this version of the game to be able to blitz the quarterback. So you can tell what the defensive mindset is depending on where they line up. So again, another pass here. First pass East Kent Mavericks drive, and
it's a completion, and I think they're going to give him the 1st down as he crosses the halfway mark. A nice grab there from the East Kent Mavericks receiver. Unfortunately, we don't currently have a roster for the East Kent Mavericks. We are working on that. And as you see, it just tiptoes up the sideline there, and Birmingham not quite fast enough to knock him out. So that will bring up 1st and... Well, I suppose it's 1st and a half, is it?
Yes.
Is it not? I think that's fair to say.
High snap, but collected well by the quarterback. Flag on the play. We'll see what that's for, but a nice completion there to number 37. What has the referee seen that we didn't?
Illegal blitz. Defence, number 23. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 1st down.
So that will move the ball forward 5 yards and a repeat of downs. So it will remain 1st down for the East Kent Mavericks. It always looks like a long 5 yards in this situation. as number 7 receives the ball, looking for a man deep in the end zone. Oh, and he's aimed for the back corner, but not quite hit his mark. Yeah, it always looks like a long 5 yards on these short pictures, but I suppose every flag that you get against you is always going to cause you trouble. And this will bring up second down.
It's also extremely cramped in the end zone for the receivers when you think that there's, 9 people running around there trying to all make space for themselves.
Yeah, very much so. So East Kent Mavericks coming out with 2 receivers, a running back that they have looked to pass to. Oh, and he's stuffed there by number 23 for the Lions, in Wangwa.
He's part of this impressive front up front with Temi Fagoban.
We'll bring up third down for the Lions. The Lions, notorious at all levels. Well, I say notorious is a bad word, but a very, very fast-paced defense with a strong offense, very quick to the ball. And you see there, he's looking for the blitz, and he's stuffed them there for a real short pickup, and that will bring up fourth down.
You have to say the tackles in this game are very secure. They make sure they follow it all the way through, and there's a lot of fight in them though as well. I think when these plays do come, because there's so many people, it can turn into a bit of a scrum in the end zone if the East Kent Mavericks are able to get there.
So it looks like that big 99 there for the Lions is coming again, and it's a run play, and it looks like they're going to call him in. That is a touchdown, and I think he's actually hurt himself going in as he tried to hurdle over 2 players, but a score is a score as the Medics run onto the field. And I think he's taken a nasty pop there actually to his body.
He is holding his side.
We'll see what they say, but that brings the score before the first, the extra point conversion to 6 to the Lions, 6 to the Mavericks.
It was an impressive dive. He made a very good attempt to getting to the end zone and thankfully was able to do it. Hopefully it's nothing too serious for him.
As we watch the Medics run across the field, as we've already said, these teams have already played 3 games, so this will be the 3rd game, I think, actually, for these guys. Already having played. Oh, he is up on his feet, and it looks like he's going to run off with his own team as the Medics turn around with a, why did we have to come over here? It's too hot to carry all this stuff.
Could have had a severe winding possibly.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay by the lightning speed that he got up. So it looks like the East Kent Mavericks are going for 2 points here.
As I said earlier, they can run the ball in or throw it from this distance, so we'll see what they're going for here.
It's an interesting snapping technique from the centre. This quarterback looks into the end zone. Oh, it goes for that one-hand grab, but nowhere to go.
Tipped up and no one on defence able to grab that out of the air. So the Birmingham Lions will now resume their offensive scheme, see if they can put another score on the board. They were explosive in their first play of the drive.
Very much so. That first big play, really, I thought that might set the stage, but the East Kent Mavericks are very quick to get another score on the board to keep them in. So the Birmingham Lions will start their 2nd drive of the game with 6 points on the score. To East Kent Mavericks, 6 points. Got another motion play, and it looks like another run up that left side. As he cuts, weaves and bobs. There is a flag that's just come up on the play. It looks like they may mark him short of the half, but there was some laundry on the field. We'll see what they say.
Another very impressive run from the Birmingham Lions, though.
Holding, offence number 81. Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. First down.
And unfortunately that is on Xavier. And that will remain a first down, but it will bring that ball back. So we'll see if they can get up to that halfway mark again on this play.
It'll be interesting to see how much East Kent adapt their scheme to stop that run, because they've had 2 attempts to stop that sort of reverse field run.
I would hazard a guess the Lions will be running virtually the same play. Oh, it's a sweep this time, as he picks up a decent chunk of yardage around the edge. And those sweeps, something we see so often in senior and junior football on a full width field. I'm surprised it actually picked up what it did there, but not the width that you get at that senior level as the Lions set up for second down. So as you say, the Lions have been pretty dominant throughout this tournament and throughout the season. It's another sweep as Xavier breaks one tackle, looking to weave back inside as 3 Mavericks take him down, and that is excellent defense that time. Only picking up short yardage, 1 maybe 2 yards. A little difficult to gauge with no yard markers on the field. But,
I was about to say, for those wondering how they do measure yardage, the referees have these little bags which they can measure the downs from, and they drop those and then pick them back up when the team has reached the marker.
So the Lions setting up third, and Xavier motions across, this time setting up to the right-hand side. And it's going to be a run straight up the middle, big power run there. And they are going to call him short, I think, of the halfway mark. Oh, good 3 or 4, well, 3 yards short of the halfway mark there, and it will bring up Lions 4th down.
It's a crunching tackle.
Yeah, and a great tackle, particularly from a powerful running back like that, running at you full steam. We'll see what they can muster this time. Mavericks have slowed this Lions offense for the first time today. Oh, and another powerful run, and he's going to come up short, I think. And it looks like the Mavericks, yes, the officials have called him short, so that will be Mavericks ball.
It's a good job they were able to have that time before the snap, because one of the East Kent Mavericks defensive backs were actually miles offside as the ball was about to be snapped. He almost jumped backwards to avoid that.
Yeah, so what a great defensive effort there from the Mavericks. As you said it before that drive, we've got to try and find a way to stuff that scheme of the Lions and to take down a player running at you full steam, virtually one-on-one as well. You haven't got the offensive line. Very difficult to do, but a wonderful tackle there as the Mavericks set up, and it was obviously turned over in the far half, but it does come back to that far end. He actually looks to fumble that ball slightly there, but a nice pickup from the running back as 2-3 Lions hunt him down.
It's been a very, I would say almost bitty, but the Mavericks seem to be very confident in what they're doing, whereas Birmingham seems to have tried to run the same play a few times. We'll see if the Mavericks are able to continue that
quarterback
success.
Setting up. A nice completion there. Oh, and he's made an extra couple of yards as he had his leg raised, and it looks like they've actually given him the first down as he's just crossed that halfway line before stepping out of bounds. So a nice play by the Mavericks there. And you just see his leg being raised slightly as he hobbles over, but he got there. And the Mavericks look to pass again. And it's a completion to the centre, and as we mentioned earlier, centres are eligible as he picks up maybe a yard gain there, but a catch is a catch, is it not?
Yeah, any forward progress is progress.
Well, we've just seen on the far field the Cheetahs allowing a score on a big run play. You may have caught that at a glimpse. We return back, the Mavericks setting up second down, and it's going to be an incomplete pass. We've heard shouts from the sideline for holding, and perhaps so, but maybe the officials a little more lenient at youth level than they are at any other level. So this will bring up a Mavericks third down.
Number 99, Temi, has been a force of nature for the Birmingham Lions today. He's always causing pressure on the quarterback.
He is a big boy.
And he's just always got this sense for where the ball's going to be.
Mavericks looking to run, and that's a nice pickup, but it will bring up fourth down. And we'll see what the Mavericks elect to do.
It was a very strong tackle. Number 88, I think, still bending himself in half a little bit to get air back into his lungs. But we'll see if Birmingham are able to put the pressure on here and stop that second score.
It's an interesting dynamic at youth. Here in senior level, on fourth down you'd look to pass perhaps, but here they've got the option to run, although he has passed and he's going to come up short just. So that will be a turnover to the Lions and a great defensive stop, 3 yards short of the end zone. So that will leave the scores
Birmingham Lions 6, East Kent Mavericks 6.
And the Birmingham Lions obviously have now traded defensive shutouts, and it'll be interesting to see if Birmingham do actually adapt their game style now. Do they continue to try with that power run, or do they attempt those passes?
You look at the size of the team, and youth is, you know, I hear coaches around the league, my 14-year-old's going to compete against a 17-year-old, and I think they've actually maybe just changed the top age limit so it's 16 and a half, but there is a substantial growth difference in these guys as they hit different stages of their life, and you've got younger players down there and you've got older players down there, and you see the physicality of the Lions is more from what we've seen than the East Kent Mavericks, although the Mavericks do a fantastic job so far of holding their own. It looks like the Lions will have that motion from that far side and a run up the middle as he again bobs and weaves. He breaks one tackle, looks for a seam, but brought down well by the Mavericks, and he has gained a nice chunk of gain on that running play, although he seems to be down at the moment.
I think he's getting up on his own steam. He's just gonna take a play off, I think.
So that will bring up second down for the Lions. See what they bring. Not so much passing from the Lions so far. We've seen far more dominant run game for them, with the Mavericks more maybe 70% passing to maybe Lions 70% running, if I was to put a figure on it. And again, that motion from the left side, they really like that play, and a fake toss, and they are looking to pass, and a deep ball. Scott Xavier, a nice coverage from two guys there as the Lions look for that man Xavier again on the sideline. It will bring up third down.
And Xavier was actually the hero in the game leading up to this one, where he caught one of those end zone to end zone passes and allowed the Birmingham Lions to edge themselves 1 point ahead. So he's clearly a power player for this team.
And Cameron Blair is still in at quarterback. Let's see what he can do this time around. Starting onto centre. Again, that motion. And a run up the middle. And a nice step. And he's going to cross the halfway line, I think. No, they're going to call him. No, they have given it. It's a little difficult to gauge this game. They do mark it just by cones. So when that knee goes down, but a nice big step as he crosses over. So that will be a first down. Let's see. There was a slight discussion there from the officials. I think it was more on a penalty decision actually, rather than whether a flag should have been thrown.
Let's see if Birmingham are able to get one of those runs off again.
Blair looking deep. He's got a man wide open, although he's gone for Xavier with a one-handed grab. And what a score!
Fingertip catch there.
What a grab! He actually had a man wide open, crossing the centre line of the field, but elected to go for Xavier in the on the outside seam, and it looks like they're going to go for two. And I don't quite know if we've got a replay of that, but what a wonderful grab there. And as you say, right on the fingertips, and that is a wonderful way to watch that ball in. And that will put the Lions at 12-6 and going for that 2-point score.
As I said, there's clearly a lot of trust there between Cameron and Xavier. He knows that if he puts it within the region, he should be able to make that catch. And you have to have that sort of trust. Great to see from the receiver.
And that was a receiver not giving up on that route and looking that ball in all the way. And there is a flag on the play. I think there may have been some confusion by the defensive line, although they've called it a false start, I think.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offence number 12. It's a 5-yard penalty. Retry.
So that will be on Michael Stevens, the centre there. Unfortunately, again, we do stress that we haven't got the East Kent Mavericks roster at the moment. We are trying to get that.
So the Birmingham Lions will be attempting to get their 2 points from a little bit further back.
And that's that run from that strong running back again. Breaking 2 tackles, and he's going to come up short, but what a great effort for the running back. I know he's come up short, but breaking 2 tackles, and 2 strong tackles as well. But just falling short, so that will leave the Lions 12 And the Mavericks 6 as they take over now, 5 yards off their end zone.
There's a great example there of what I was talking about before the game, where the quarterbacks are throwing blocks to help their wide receivers and their running backs get through. And Cameron there, I think, has picked up a little bit of a knock to his ankle, but he threw a great block to allow that,
and
that run to continue.
That running back there, Kwanzambi Benny, and he's done bits, I think it's fair to say, today. Steps 1, steps 2, but he can run through the middle, and there seems to be some confusion there on the defense as the Mavericks pick up a nice little gain before being forced out to the sideline. That will bring up a Mavericks 2nd down.
You have to say the Mavericks' offensive play style is much more varied than the Birmingham Lions. Not necessarily less successful, but they will have to score here to keep it more competitive, I think, because Birmingham seem to be able to run them down with their running game, I suppose.
And it looks like Blair will be... Sorry. And it's incomplete there.
But again, this is part of what I was talking about. Temi is forcing situations that the Mavericks aren't comfortable with.
Yeah,
he's making the quarterback make decisions much quicker than he has to against other opponents.
Very much so, and there's not many quarterbacks comfortable, right-handed quarterbacks comfortable, that rolling out to the right-hand side and then throwing back across the body. It will bring up a Mavericks 3rd down.
Personnel change there from these Kent Mavericks, and see if their new players are able to make an impact.
Poor snap there, and looking deep. Oh, and it's a pick, and the Lions are going to look to take this all the way. I think he's going to get in, and that is another score for the Lions, and that looks to be number 13 for the Lions, Jonathan Wright, with an excellent pick as the Mavericks quarterback looks to throw over the middle. His receiver blocking his vision, and Wright picks it up, knows what to do, and takes it all the way. And I do apologise, Jonathan Williams there, as my colleague points out, that I cannot read and perhaps should have gone to a well-known brand of glassware.
No, it's a spectacular interception there from
you. I see what you did there, Spec. Yeah, yeah. We can't say the name, obviously, for legal reasons, but we know that it involves a dog being shorn instead of some sheep. Sorry, I had to get some farmer humour in. I'll stop there for the day.
But Birmingham are now in control of this game. It's really their defense has shown they can show up, and their offense has displayed themselves.
Oh, and it's a bad snap.
Yeah.
And that is going to be another incomplete. There is a flag on the play. That will be an incomplete.
See what the referee's ruling is. Seem to have a little discussion about it.
Currently, as it stands, it will be no good on that 2-point conversion. But,
illegal procedure, offence. Play across the line of scrimmage before handing off the ball. That penalty, of course, is declined. Try is no good.
You heard it from the official. First try remains no good. So that will leave us with the Lions 18 and the Mavericks 6.
It's interesting because on both of the last 2-point conversions, they've pulled illegal moves twice, the Birmingham Lions. So it might be worth working on that at half-time, just saying to the lads to calm down and make sure things are done properly before you try and proceed, because whilst they're in a comfortable position right now, those 4 points could be very useful come the end of the game.
And that's 6 points that they've now lost out on. As you say, one was just a great stop by the defense, and they look. Oh, and it's a fumble in the backfield, and it looks like the Mavericks have recovered. Quick reactions there for the running back to jump on his own fumble, I think is fair to say, and that will be the half. So at half time, and it will be a short half time, no doubt, the Birmingham Lions 18, East Kent Mavericks 6, and we will join you after half time.
the under-17s American Football League. You watching the Birmingham Lions versus the East Kent Mavericks. Sorry, not the Exiles. They did play them earlier though. And,
East Kent Mavericks will be starting with the ball this half, as the Lions started last time, looking to pass that ball, and it looks like we now have, and it looks like a pick as the Lions go in. I was just about to say we've now got a Mavericks roster as well.
That is Kai on the pick there. A very good start for Birmingham. I'm not sure you can ask for better, really.
Yeah, very, very quick start. A much, much better defensive effort than we saw at the start of the game.
And again, it's that man Temi. He's forcing the quarterback to make plays he doesn't want to do, throwing it across the pitch high and wide. No idea really where it's going, just to try and get that yardage, and it's picked off by number 23.
So that will bring us to the Lions 24, East Kent Mavericks 6, as the Lions look to take this 2-point score. We haven't seen one of these being completed today. And that is the first time out by the Mavericks.
And I think maybe that was to regroup for the players, because they had a very late personnel change. They don't want to give up any more points they already have. They are gonna have to execute on every play now, East Kent. It's gonna be a bit of a struggle to get back into this if they're not pinpoint perfect. But yeah, as you say, this 2-point conversion would be the first completed of the game, or first conversion completed at all if they're able to get this in.
Bell will look to, and that was a nice fake handoff there. And it looks like for the first time in the game they are going to get it, and it was a wonderful run again by that man, Gwinzabi Benny. What a great run, and he's finally got those 2 points on the board for the Lions.
I have to say, they're actually practicing that exact play for a long time in their previous game off to the side when the defense was on. They were repping it and repping it and repping it, so they could get plays like that off. They want. I was speaking to one of the coaches earlier. Said the only way we can get this right is by practicing and practicing. They're able to execute it beautifully.
Everything has to be right down there in Birmingham, and it seems to be proving its point today, as Matthew Allen leads out the Mavericks this time for their second offensive drive. As he said, we've now got a Mavericks roster.
As I said, they'll need to be perfect here.
No doubt they will look to pass, and Allen is stepping back, and he's looking for a man. He's got a man straight across the field, and he's going to cross that halfway mark, and that was Cameron Jackson with the reception, and a wonderful run after the catch. And that is the way to play football.
Kai with the tackle there, man who intercepted the last offensive play by the East Kent Mavericks, making that tackle.
And that's really good to see from a young quarterback. He's just throwing an interception and going out and getting a completion. A second straight completion, actually, is just hit number 37, Jacob Morris, for a short pickup. So getting straight back into the groove, passing the ball. And Allen building his confidence steadily, I'm sure. And I think the Lions defense may be a little shell-shocked with the quick movement here.
The East Kent are very, very quick now. They did look a bit sluggish in the first half. But
a jet sweep essentially there, but he will be stuffed short, and a great play by that big man, as you have said today, his name, Temi, as he stuffed that play right up.
And it's just, as Birmingham has a very, very strong defense. Obviously, as we've already seen, they've caused 2 scores for Birmingham already, but their front line is just amazing.
Yeah. Temi Fagboen has really, really done a good job for the Lions, setting that middle. So we'll see what they can bring here. And they're third down, and he's looking deep, and it's a lofted ball. Lions looking to pick it off. Number 13 again looking to pick it off. That is Jonathan Williams.
And he's already scored.
He has got a pick 6 already. And that will bring up a 4th down, so the Mavericks very much halted in the tracks.
It does seem in this version of the game there is slightly more desperation when you get to those 3rd and 4th downs, because you know that you're going to be starting all the way back again.
And it was a completion, but it will come up short. And that is a turnover on downs. So Lions finding their rhythm again on defense to stuff the Mavericks and get that ball back again.
Well, with the Lions now 20 points up, they're only going to be looking to compound on their lead that they have and really drive it home, I suppose.
Lions really showing their dominance, and I'm not quite sure how you run the clock down in the same way at youth football yet. I'm sure we're about to find out. There will be a lot more running, I'm sure, from the Lions. Not that they've passed much, but we did see that wonderful grab by their 81 Xavier Hansi.
See what they're able to bring out now. Motion by number 84.
Oh, and well stopped there by the Mavericks, although he did eventually break that tackle. The whistle has blown to bring up a Lions second down.
I do think the referee blew that a little early. He was still making forward progress, but
first and foremost at youth level, it's about keeping these players safe.
Definitely.
And so they do have a tendency, like we say, perhaps to let one or two things slide, maybe holding, but tackling. I'm sure they're pretty hot on. So, and I'm sure the Lions will look to run this ball again. And that is a sweep. And it's a nice pickup again by that man Xavier. Or I actually think he goes as X if memory serves.
He's got a collection of nicknames he was telling us earlier. I can't remember half of them, but he was reeling off 3 or 4 different names that we can call him.
That doesn't surprise me, but from what we've seen so far, he has the athletic ability and the football ability to back up any names that he may have called himself. Let's put it that way. And he does sweep across the field again, and they'll look to run. And he's cutting back across the field. And he's going to take this all the way to the house, puts the burners on, and in he goes. That is the Lions' number 2, Luke Doshikibo.
An amazing play from him. And again, I have to reinforce this. The quarterback made that happen. He threw a block downfield. That means none of these Kent Mavericks could even get close to him.
It looks like there is an injury, but he is back up on his feet. And as you saw there, a great turn of pace as he cut back across the field. And I suppose that's what's difficult about youth, is trying to set an edge, perhaps, as a defensive coach.
With only 5 players, you're worried that if you do set that hard edge and then you leave 2 players forward, you've only got 3 left to cover the remaining 4.
Very much so, and it makes things a little difficult for stuffing those run backs, that cut back there. And it was a nice cut back, and he read it ever so well. He read his blocks, and as we say, as he turned that corner, that bolt came on and he just sprinted down.
We're going to
During the run back, sideline interference, Birmingham. The result of the play is a touchdown. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced on Kent's ensuing kickoff.
So there we go. Now I didn't see a flag come up there, but
neither did I.
I could well be wrong.
I think what may have happened was some of the players have strayed from outside the box. I was watching earlier in their first game, and they got penalised for that earlier as well. I think they can get quite excitable. Some of the Birmingham Lions staff on there are specifically there to stop them running outside. So
they are an intense team, that's for sure. But when you play with the intensity that they have today, you can see the results as they come up for the 2-point conversion. And that's going to be a flag there. Whether they call that, it looks like it was on the offense.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 81. That's a 5-yard penalty. Retry.
He didn't call himself quick start, did he? He didn't call himself quick start.
But that's going to make this attempt much harder now.
It will, yeah.
Extra.
Massive penalty yardage. Now, actually, they've conceded more penalty yardage in this game than a lot of senior teams do, but they're still winning the game. As he looks deep into the end zone. and it was a great effort to try and grab the ball, but well stuffed up by the Mavericks defense. Great coverage all over, and that will leave us with the Lions 32, Mavericks 6, as Mavericks take over on the 5.
Number 37 there for the Mavericks did something very intelligent, which was he made sure he was in the right position and then definitely made sure that the referees knew he was looking back, because there's been a lot of plays today where players have been pinged for pass interference for not getting their head round.
Meldrum there, the big defensive back that stuffed it up, and Allen will lead them out once again.
So they'll be starting from an advanced position. I'm not entirely sure why, but lovely pass there. Just about able to keep hold of it on his side, and they'll make 3 or 4 yards in that play.
I think it's fair to say that Allen's not had he's obviously threw in 2 interceptions, but he's had the nice completions here and there, and he's really starting to build an eye for the game, I think, as a young quarterback, getting some nice completions. Recalling on that previous drive, that nice middle throw to Jackson, and that is another completion for him, and a big hit there from Lions 23, making himself known. Kay Nwagwa. It's a very strong unit. Well, as I said, Temi making sure the quarterback had to make a decision very quickly, and then Kai able to just completely shut down the rest of the play as it developed. We'll see what they bring up here. They are just short of that halfway mark, and on their 3rd attempt, and they look to pass. There was some hesitancy there, but he has picked it up, I think, before going out of the sideline. We'll see what the officials give. Referee has gestured, but yeah, they are going to mark him over that halfway, so it'll bring up a Mavericks 1st down. And there was some hesitancy there from the quarterback. Looked like a sort of read option, whether it was supposed to be designed like that, but crossing the line, getting the first that they needed, a high snap there, and he looks for that quick pass and a nice completion again on that crossing route, and that's going to hurt, I think, as he just holds his back going down. The receiver there, Jacob Morris, a favourite target so far for our quarterback of the day, Matthew Allen, alongside Cameron Jackson at receiver as well. That's Kai with another crunching tackle there. He's definitely got his style of hitting, and it's working very well for him today. He is going to make a great safety for somebody at the junior level. And he may even want to play linebacker. That's a high snap that's going to be back. Allen fumbling around, and that is your man, Temi, taking him down for a big sack to bring up a Mavericks 3rd down. He's just, for a man of his size, he's deceptively fast. Now, I was a bit worried there that the Kent Mavericks quarterback was just going to watch it bumble around until he was already on it. But and well stuffed up. You can't say any more about it. A great play from that big man in the middle. So we'll bring up. Oh, and it's another poor snap, and he's going to bobble it around. Jackson doing a great job trying to make some yardage on the end of that. I think these Kent Mavericks panicked a little bit there. They were trying to make so much more yardage up that they just hurried too quickly, and the play both of the last plays just completely fell to bits. And that will bring up a very long 4th down. Bearing in mind, for them to complete it, they have to complete it in the end zone, or run it into the end zone for that matter, and that's going to be a timeout. Birmingham going to take their sweet time, making sure that everything's right. They know they're in control. They know they've got a huge lead, and they don't want to do anything silly to throw that away. It has already happened to them today in their previous game against the Manchester Titans North. They did suffer a very long throw, further back than even East Kent are right now. But everyone's hydrated and ready to go. We'll see if these Kent Mavericks can pull off some similar magic to the Manchester Titans. Not quite sure who that timeout was on. I'm assuming the Lions, but another slightly high snap. Oh, and that's going to be another interception for the Lions. And that looked to be Lions 29, Zach Hall, Anninson.
There is a flag on the play. We'll see what that's on.
Holding. Offence, number 37. That penalty is declined. First down.
So as you say, another pick there for the Birmingham Lions, making this, I'd say, almost unreachable now for the for the East Kent Mavericks. It's obviously anything can happen in American football, but
I think the clock will have ticked down enough for the Lions to assume this lead to be safe as they take over in very, very strong field position. Bearing in mind they only have to cross that halfway line to pick up their next first down. And the motion across, a change of personnel.
They were almost able to get out of that fumble.
Yeah, I think they may actually mark him forward on that fumble. The quarterback looks slightly hurt, but it was good awareness of him to see the ball had been fumbled, immediately jump on it. There's a lot of people who dither in those situations, but he's definitely got his head screwed on correctly. We're going to see if they've got anything left in the tank, or whether they're just going to ride this out. Again, it's that play they were practicing before the game, and he's made ample yardage, more than enough. Tell you what, that man is a wonderful, wonderful running back. He has done a great job today.
That's yeah, Jeremy. He's just been sensational today. He's been sensational all day. In fact, not just in this game. The Birmingham Lions have been able to. Well, in the first game, they were really able to rack up the points against the Manchester Titans South, and then he was instrumental in the Manchester Titans North victory as well. I can't see really the Birmingham Lions taking any high-risk throwing plays here. I think they're just going to stick on the ground and ride it out. Number 14 on a sweep, running out to the sideline, being taken down, and probably 6 yards outside of the end zone. But again, I think Birmingham they're just going to sit in control, and you can see on the replay here, nice handoff by the quarterback, and beautiful blocking downfield by number 84 to make sure he can get those extra yards.
Yeah, 84, another good strong play there by the Lions, just proving their worth once again in what has proven to be a very, very dominant performance.
At the start of the game, I was expected this, and I believe in the first half it was, but I think the Birmingham Lions they've geared up another level, and number 89 is going to make his way into the end zone, and that is Roman Mia. That's points onto the Birmingham Lions. So they will now go 38-6 before the conversion. It's I assume they'll be going for 2 again. They've gone for 2 every other time. It'd actually be nice to show you a 1 so we could demonstrate what it looks like, but they're confident enough to go for that 2. Number 84 is coming off for this play. That is Harry Bushell. And there will be a attempt to go 6 up. We'll see if they were able to convert the last one.
And that is looking. Oh, and a wonderful grab there for the Mavericks. And that's that man, Cameron Jackson, who has had an excellent game, to be fair to him. And that will be another no good attempt on that play.
Whilst the Birmingham Lions will be frustrated by that, I can't imagine they'll be upset at all. It's been a very dominant performance from them, and really from their perspective, I'm not sure you can ask for much more. Defense has showed up massively, offense has showed up massively. They've both played their parts extremely well, and these Kent Mavericks just haven't been able to stand up to them today. I think these Kent Mavericks are still going to be trying extremely hard to get those points on the board, even if it is too late for them. They want to go out with pride. They're not going to just run the ball, I think. We'll see what they're able to pull off here.
We'll see what they can do. Hopefully they can get another score, as you say, just to... he looks to throw across his body, and it is a fumble. I think they're going to call it a fumble as the Lions run yet another score in to the end zone, and that will be another 6 points for those Lions, bringing. And this really has been a roaring performance for the Lions.
Now that was a mix of things, really. That was Temi making the quarterback do something he didn't want to do again. But obviously, all credit there has to go to the tackling player who just pushed that ball out and was recovered very quickly and able to run it in. I'm not sure if the East Kent Mavericks were maybe even prepared for that drive. They just didn't seem confident at all.
You look down on the sideline, and the Lions do seem to have a bigger squad as well, which will have suited them throughout the day, no doubt. But Lions really showing their discipline. And there's another fake, and he looks for another touchdown, just broken up on the plane of the end zone by Ben Wilson, the defensive back for the Mavericks. And a great play there.
It's a real shame he didn't look more to his right, because Xavier was wide open on the right-hand side.
Yeah, Harry Bushell, the intended receiver. And it'll be interesting to see who they award the man of the game to. My money is on Xavier from what he's done so far. The MVP award, as I've just been corrected by our director. I'm thinking about other sports. Well, my money would be on Xavier, who has had an outstanding game, but then that big man Temi in the middle has done a great job. And of course you've got the two guys that have got pick sixes. It will be a flag and he stays on his feet, and that is a great effort, but he is eventually brought down, and there's actually two flags here, so it'll be interesting to see what they call.
Let's calm it down, lads.
They've already got the win. There's absolutely no need for the argy-bargy, as it were, but they've walked him off the field. We'll see what the officials say.
And I think that's something that's underrated when you talk about teamwork, is your teammates being there to calm you down. Obviously, that there was not much to that, and not really sure what was said or what caused it, but number 7's walking over there to apologise, and Temi's gone. That's really nice to see.
That's nice to see at youth level, and you can hear perhaps on some of our mics around, it's the crowd claps. I think that's really good showmanship, sportsmanship, and
I think
that's nice to see at youth level. Get it instilled, John.
Illegal blitz. Defence, number 23. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
That will undo that safety. And as I said to you earlier, you have to blitz from the nose tackle position. But it's good that they were able to make up. I think it was just frustration probably from.
It would be nice for the Mavericks to get a score here. And he looks across the field, and it's a nice pickup, nice gain, and it's a nice completion for to Thomas Peters from Matthew Allen. And he's proven his mettle. He's not had the best game so far, but throwing still at this late stage and getting some completions. He's still finding the open man. It's nice to see, and he's obviously done a great job leading his team to this point as well. And that is a big hit from a man that's done that so many times today.
They're just boiling over with confidence, this Birmingham Lions team. They've swapped out Temi.
And you could see it there again on the replay, and it was actually a really nice breakdown from the defensive player. Great form tackle, just takes his weight over, and what a great thing to see at such a young age, a guy that can tackle like that. And another run, he's going to get the first, that's for sure, and hopefully they can continue moving forward. As we draw to a close.
But as I said, the East Kent Mavericks have not given up. They're still trying to get those points on the board.
No, they definitely haven't. It's a high snap there, but he takes it well. Just pops it off, and it is another run around the edge. It'll bring up second down as he steps out of bounds.
The 2-minute warning hasn't been called yet, but I imagine it's very soon. It's been an absolute display from Birmingham today, but East Kent haven't done themselves a disservice. They've just been outclassed.
Oh, and that's Jackson again. Oh, and he's doing really wriggling through one, wriggling to two, and he's going to pick up a real nice gain. I actually thought he was going to get stuffed in the backfield. And that is the game on the end of that play, and that is the Birmingham Lions 44, East Kent Mavericks 6. And that will leave us with the Lions as BAFA Youth Plate champions for 2018. And what a great display of athleticism, football and overall dominance as they roar to victory. Shortly, the guys celebrating, throwing all sorts. I'm sure the youth level, the soaking quite. I see an orange water over there. It needs to be. They don't. Very.
Honestly, they both played. Expected it to be much tough. Were
definitely not very early on. So remaining 6-6 and a very, very close game, back and forth on offense and defense. But
just something must have snapped in them at the half and just came out, guns blazing. Real way.
Who really stood out for you there?
A number of players. He's been all day really.
Temi Fagbo, but you see him got that sack and nearly a second sack.
And sacks aren't that common in this game. A lot of the times the quarterback is able to just throw it away and he knows there won't be any danger. But I suppose the Birmingham Lions are able to know and put that trust in Temi that he will put that pressure on, and they can play a bit more aggressively. But I think offensively, as you said, I think Xavier with that catch in the first, just at the start of the second half.
Yeah, Xavier, hasn't he? He's done a great job, I think, and we saw some displays of athleticism for him. And there's what about the Mavericks? They had a number of standout players, and looking down the list, Cameron Jackson, who had a great game. Credit to him. He picked up a few receptions, should I say, and a few yardage there. That last run of the game was a nice little winding run with a nice big pickup. But ultimately, the Lions showing the force of not just the youth team, but their the outfit as well. Well known for doing things like this, as we mentioned before the game. The women's program. The pinnacle really of women's football clubs, club level in the UK so far. Nobody really rivaling them, making up the bulk of the Lions women's team and the university as well. When I say Lions women's team, I should say GB. I think that the Lionesses actually, but and the university as well, doing what they can, and the junior team being so dominant over the last few years. And I think this is great credit, not just to the youth team, but the organisation as well. And you see there Wayne Hill, the man that heads it all up still, stepped away from coaching, but he will be very, very happy with his young guys. He's odd. You hear one or two things about Wayne, but one of the things I like most about him, from what I've heard, is that he goes around and he knows every player. He knows everything in that programme. He will know all of those guys by first name, and he makes a point to know all that's involved. As we say, shortly we will be filming the plate presentation. I can see BAFA officials for the day just setting up. So we will sign off, and we can tune into that. Thank you for watching us. We will have the Cup final, the Brit Bowl final, at the end of the day, and you can watch highlights, we hope, of the plate at our web address, and I will give you that now very shortly if I can work technology. It's not quite like driving a tractor. It is www.onsidetv.co.uk, and you can see it all there. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you at around about 5:30 this afternoon. Thank you,
Thank you for
and
watching.
goodbye.